you and the people important to you. So spread the word, tell a friend, join our newsletter, and go make a difference in your world. Now on to our show with your host, Peter Mingles.
Hello, everyone. Peter Mingles taking whatever this radio show from Building Fortunes Radio. We're going to connect Janine Avila in a second. She just came in. So Peter Mingles here on Building Fortunes Radio. We are ready to roll almost. It is our very first radio show in 2020 for a gal I have a huge level of respect for. It taught me a lot relative to some cool things relative to home-based businesses and our Building Fortunes Radio listening audience. Her name is Janine Avila. Janine is somebody who's been associated with the home-based business environment for a super-duper long time, and as a result of that, we had some radio shows when she was working with Doris Wood over at the MLMIA, and last year she called me up and she said, I'm back, and I said, I'm so glad, because we enjoy having Janine here, and she's got a unique way of explaining different things about being involved in home-based businesses. When we first got started, she was explaining about some of the things you need in your home-based businesses. So if you go to buildingfortunesradio.com/Janine, that's Janine. Again, go to buildingfortunesradio.com/Janine. Start from the very beginning. You'll be able to hear the different things as far as setting up your own home-based business. And then towards the tail end of 2019, we did some stuff relative to holiday selling. And then Janine and was doing a little bit of traveling, and we were doing our stuff, and she said, let's start in February. So this is our very first radio show for Janine Avila live on Building Fortunes Radio, and I'm giving her a little bit of time to probably get herself together because she ran a little bit late. So as I know these things, based on stuff, I should probably ask, Janine, are you ready for your radio show?
I am. I'm ready, especially for
Excellent.
This show because it's about business on the run.
That's it. Absolutely. So anyway, first of all, thanks for being here, and I look forward to the stuff that we're going to teach people and have people experience in the year 2020. But I have to kick off this by saying you made a very big difference in my life, and I got to share with people because we talk about a lot of things, but Janine introduced to me a technology through a device which is called the Amazon Echo Show. And I've been a big Dot fan. So a Dot is like a device that Amazon has, but it's mostly audio. And when she mentioned to me that she's using the show, I remembered that. And then I had a situation just recently where my daughter went away to boot camp. She's still at boot camp right now. And I knew that she was eventually going to be going away, so that show device might come in handy. But my wife had to fly up to New York to see her dad and her mom, and we took one of those Echo shows. She took one of those Echo shows with her, and we set it up in the dad's place, and now my wife and her dad can explore those things, and he's also using the device, and she's got him hooked up with different playlists, and it's really been a great and wonderful experience that I'm looking forward to enjoying. And I probably would have never done that as quickly as I did if it wasn't for this radio show and Janine. So for those people listening in, there's one way that people make a big impact on your life, and if you just follow through the stuff that Janine is mentioning, that could be just one of those things. So I just want to say that, and I'm going to be quiet during the rest of your show until you tell me to talk next. Back to you.
Thank you, Peter. And that's heartwarming to me because I love it when people, hear, sometimes it's just one thing, just one tip, and it can make a big difference. And that's why I do this show, and I love doing this show with you. What you don't know is that you couldn't, if we were live streaming, you'd have seen me. Every time you said Echo Show, she popped off. So I had to jump up and go over there and put her on mute.
I know.
But she's very useful, so I try not to get mad at her because it gives us the ability. If you guys if you go back and listen to the show, there's a show I did with Annette Machado, and we were just talking about technology. And it gives me the ability, and it gives Peter and his wife the ability that I can, fortunately I have it on mute right now, but I can say drop in on Annette or drop in on Mom, and suddenly it's like I'm sitting there talking to my mom, and it's great for people that are elderly and people like me. don't like to push a lot of buttons. It's all verbal commands, but it's a really wonderful device. And to me, it's the very best of technology, because when technology brings people together and makes life easier and better, that's really what it's all about. So, Peter, it's a pleasure to be here tonight. It is my daughter's birthday, and I came sliding in here, and we were talking about where we're going to go meet after and all this. And then I'm like, I got to go to my show. She hung up on her. So I'm happy to be here. And, we took a break during the holidays and through the first of the year. And, everybody's getting busy with all their New Year's goals and their New Year's resolutions and their resets and the restarts and all the things that people do. And it's not really a Chinese New Year, but it's kind of a Janine New Year. I kind of really like to reset in February because it really gives you enough time to recover from the holidays and all the things that we did and the travel and the plans we made, and to really say, okay, here we go. We're in the second month of the year, 2020. And it's a cool year, 2020, because we can have 2020 vision for our lives and sometimes really start to see clearly. And as you heard Peter say, I was on the road. I have a very busy career, a big family, and a lot of things going on all the time, a lot of goals. And I made a decision last year that turned into the topic of this show, because I have a lot of family in California also. I live in Dallas, Texas. And I didn't go out to the holidays. I didn't go out to California for the holidays, so I decided to go in January because of a situation with my mother. And I have to work, and I can't just drop my business goals. Like so many of you probably listening to the show, when you're an entrepreneur and you've got goals and you have, income to be made and you want to go on a trip. So what I noticed is a lot of times people say no to travel or a trip because they have to work. So it really is, the trick really is how to keep your business going while being on the run, being on the road, being like a mobile entrepreneur, a road warrior, but for yourself. A lot of times we talk about a road warrior and you're thinking about somebody who's working for a company and they're on the road. Well, when you're working for yourself, you really don't want to let down. And I figured out some things. I was on the road for a month, a solid month of January. I got home last Friday, and I just really, I've always been pretty good about technology and my mobility, but I actually took some things to the new level. And I decided I wanted to share it with everyone because I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one juggling family and aging parents and children and a career and personal commitments and hobbies and things you want to do. So I'm excited to share with you all that I figured out a way that I could go to California, and I also went to Boise, Idaho, and I got to hang out with my cousins who I really hadn't seen much in years, and I've just never made the time because I always had to work, and there's never a good time. So I've got my systems in place. So I thought, well, how do you take this show on the road, so to speak, and take this business on the road? And it takes planning. So if you've got, your own home-based business, or you've got a career that you're building, or you're working full-time and then you got a side gig that you're trying to build up, some extra income. Everybody's that's trying to get ahead basically has some kind of side hustle. And there's a way to do it that can give you peace. So I just thought I'd share with everyone some of the things I figured out while I was on this trip. So we'll start off with the most basic, is your cell phone gives you a lot of freedom if you know how to use it. So this is not the first time I've said this, but the cell phone is a double-edged sword. It gives you freedom so you can be where you need to be, but also you can be a slave to it. So what I did when I was in Boise with all my cousins and my aunts, and we had a lot of family time. But communication is key in anything you do in business. It's one of the most important factors. And so it was important for me because I had put thought into this. So the first thing I did, the first night we were all together and we had a big family dinner, I just told everyone how happy I was to be there. And I said, but I have to throw a disclaimer out. I'm going to be here a week. And I need you all to know that I'm not on vacation. I'm working and I'm running a business and it requires a lot. And I have a lot of overseas business. So I'm going to do my very best to compartmentalize my time. But I don't want you guys to be upset or feel neglected, or don't start telling me I'm a workaholic if I'm answering my phone, because I'm not on vacation. So I could have said no to this trip and just stayed home at the desk, or I could have said, hey, I'm going to go. I want to be with my cousins. And, you know, Peter, that single thing changed the climate for everything, because we've all been in the room and you've got this important business call and you got to take it and you answer your phone and everybody in the family starts groaning. And that's not a good feeling. And I like people to have the joy of business. And you have a business to make your life better, not to cause you problems. And that's what happens. And it's all how you manage it. It was that single communication piece, because every time I got a call, or if I'd say to people, I got to take this call, I'm going to go downstairs, they were completely understanding, and they didn't feel like they saw that it was the way I was managing. So that one thing made all the difference. So the second thing I wanted to say is make sure you have a good laptop and you know how to use it. It's kind of mind-boggling to me, but I run into people all the time that tell me, well, I have a laptop, but it's old and I don't really know how to use it. But if you're not going to do business on the run, it's not important. But make sure you have a good laptop that's got a camera and you don't have problems. Because when you're trying to do business on the run, like what I do is a lot of times I pull over, I'm at a Starbucks or I'm at a Common Desk, a WeWork, somewhere like that. I see one of those, I pull over and I'll knock out some work, and then I get back to the fun or the vacation or the travel. And the laptop makes that possible. You can do a lot on your cell phone, but I'm not a millennial, so I'm not as inclined to do that. I like to use my laptop where I can print. I know I've trained myself. I'm an old dog, but I know how to use AirPrint. I know how to do AirDrop. And these are just things I've spent a little bit of time learning to use on my phone. So if I have to print something. The other thing that has given me a lot of freedom, and I didn't realize it, but I used it so much, is the scanning feature on your phone. Like there's eFax, which not that many people fax anymore, but eFax is very affordable. It's $12.95 a month. And what it's super good for is if you have a really large file to send, you can always do that. So you can always receive or send a fax. And it happens. Sometimes somebody wants to send something by fax. You can scan, and you can also, most importantly, send a really large file. That's probably been the thing I've used it for the most. But on my iPhone, there's a notes. Everybody that has an iPhone probably knows how to use the notes section. And when you go to send a new note, when you look at the bottom of your phone, there's a place that says scan. You can scan any document, and I did it a lot when I was on this last trip. Take a picture of the document, scan it, and email it. And a lot of times people think you got to be home, you got to have your scanner, you got to have all that. You don't. The technology today, again, when you know how to use it, can really provide a lot of freedom. So these scan features, and there's different apps you can use, and there's probably people listening right now that I have this good app for this, and there's a lot of great apps for scanning. So the thing is, just know to do that, because a lot of times, when you're on the road and you have to scan something, if I didn't know I could scan from my phone, I would have been trying to go down to a FedEx Kinko's or somewhere and find a scanner and send something, or trying to find one of my cousins. Do you have a scanner? All that. You don't have to do all that. Part of the goal is to be self-contained. So you can just take care of your business, and you're not having to go around and just ask people to use their stuff, which isn't a problem, but it's better when you don't have to. So the other thing I learned about that, by the way, was that when I compartmentalize my time, and I tell myself, I'm going to work for the next couple of hours, and the same communication that I had with my family, giving them the disclaimer, by the way, I'm not on vacation. I also had that with people I was working with. I let them know I'm traveling. I'm visiting my godmother and my cousins. I'm up in Boise. I'm spending time with my mother. Do you think you can get all that back to me by 2 o'clock? Because I'm trying to have some free time with the family. And, people like to cooperate, and they respect that time planning, and it just really helps when you control that instead of letting everything just happen when it happens. That gives you like a much better trip, and otherwise it's just too hard on you. So also, I have so many things that are cloud-based. Like I use Dropbox. A lot of people use OneDrive. All the different whatever online services you use. That way you don't. I used to travel, Peter, and I used to take like a suitcase. My sister Annette used to get so mad when we traveled. She'd say, "Don't bring a whole suitcase full of work," because I'd bring all this paperwork and things with me that I had to work on and do. And I really noticed that since I've cleaned up my act, I don't do that with things cloud-based and Dropbox. And sometimes when I got ready to leave on this trip, I had some things I was working on, and I just scanned them all into my Dropbox so I'd have access to things when I was on the road. And it's just pre-planning, I like my corny phrase, prior proper preparation prevents pitiful performance. So it's just planning ahead and really thinking ahead. And, I like a good rolling backpack. And when you take this laptop, and you don't want to be schlepping a whole bunch of stuff with you, but you need to have the right stuff. So they have some great rolling backpacks that you can pull the handle up, and then some things sometimes are not as heavy when you've got your backpack and all your stuff with you when you start the trip. But about halfway through the trip or towards the end of the trip, you're exhausted. So I've got several different sizes that I use, but I love a rolling backpack. So I have the options. And speaking of exhausted, how about I take a commercial break, Peter?
Oops, you caught me off guard. I was looking on my iPhone for my scan button, so I'm going to come back down to the break.
All right, good job.
I cannot tell you how many times I've been sitting here with my portable scanner and it's not connected, and it's just driving me friggin' nuts.
Oh, yeah.
So we're gonna redouble back for all those people like me that are listening in. We'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to Building Fortunes Radio. If you sell a product or service, then you should check out PM Marketing's NetworkLeads.com. Just visit www.networkleads.com. For over 18 years, PM Marketing has helped distributors build their home-based businesses through lead generation, website development, automated email delivery systems, and sales training. If you're looking for a way to increase your skills and increase the number of people that see your product or opportunity, NetworkLeads.com can help. To learn more, visit www.networkleads.com. Ask about their lead management system, capture pages, personalized websites, MLM training, humongous blogs, the humongous classified ad network, Building Fortunes Radio, or their webinar schedule. NetworkLeads.com can be your one-stop shop for everything you need. And now, back to our show.
And we are back. Peter Mingles here with Janine, Avila. We're talking about cool stuff relative to being that road warrior, or somebody who's out there on the road being able to use the technology to your advantage. And there's a lot of stuff out there. You're talking about using your smartphone, which is really a mini computer that also serves as a phone, it feels like. So it's a computer first, it's a phone second, but the reality is like, I'm serious. Like, I need to know, what did you do to do that scanning thing? Because there's lots of us that we get bogged down, because we don't know these things. So what's the scanning feature?
Okay. Do you have the Notes app on your phone? It's like a basic thing with the phone. It's
sure, I have Notes. Notes,
okay,
or
so when you go to
N-O-T-E-S or N-O-T-E-S?
N-O-T-E-S.
So I'm on Notes now.
Okay, so when you go to Notes, then go like you're going to make a new note.
Okay, you're reaching my capabilities, like a new folder or a new note?
Not a new folder, a new note. Like down in the right-hand corner, you see the little, like a pen in the middle of a square.
Yep, got it. I'm going to make a new note.
Okay, got it. So tap that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now at the bottom there, when you go to write a new note, you'll see a camera at the bottom. Like it looks like you're going to take a picture. Okay, tap that. Tell me what you see.
Just scan documents.
There you go.
So then what do you do? Just like put your document over it?
Yep. You just hold that over your document, and it'll focus in, and then you'll take the picture, and then it'll send you the little thing and ask you where you want to send it by email, or do you want to text it? How do you
Darn.
Darn.
I'm so pissed you took off January. I'm so pissed off you took off January because you could have taught me this earlier. What the hell's wrong with you?
See? A whole month you wasted of not scanning.
Right. My whole life. No, seriously. I cannot tell you how frustrated I am. No, it's a huge deal. Well, it's a huge deal because I'm dealing with a lot of people right now. I'm just going to use a specific example. No plug for PM marketing here, but we're helping people with doing loans, like personal loans, business loans, and they always have to get me documentation. So I have to wait for them to do stuff. Now I don't. Now they can just say, okay, well, fax me your business license. Well, I have to get to a fax machine. I'm not right there. If you have it in front of you, you can just scan it, send it on over. Bam, it's done in a couple of seconds, and it just makes things a lot easier. This is sweet. Thank you.
You're welcome, and there's an added plus. They think you're brilliant when you teach them this.
Right.
Because, and I would love to take the credit, but do you remember Justin Boyd, who came and did the IT show early on when we were doing the show? He taught me that because I was doing that. I'm like, do you have a scanner? And he was like, you got one? I have one, but you have it in your phone. And I'm like, no, I don't. Yes,
right. How the hell do you, like, so me and you were looking at, like, how the hell am I going to get this page to feed through my phone? There's no slide. There's no way to.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, this is not even the same size as my piece of paper. Well, but I cannot tell you, it's sort of my new thing in life. I'm teaching people all over the place. I was at a birthday party with a bunch of my high school friends, and somebody was fussing about saying, do you need a scanner? And I said, you have an iPhone? And she said, yeah, because you got a scanner in your hand. She said, I do. So I showed them. They all were like, how do you do that? Everybody. I'm the one that teaches everyone about the note feature and the scanner.
Wow.
So there
again,
you go.
For those people that might be saying, okay, I just grabbed my phone. I hope they go over that again. Let me see if I got it right. So you're using your iPhone. If you have an iPhone, you go to Notes, Notes, which is one of those little icons. Click on that. Start to write a new one. Then you'll see the picture for the camera. And then there you go. It clicks on Scan Documents. It's literally that simple. But you'd never know it. You'd never know it. You'd never know it on your own until somebody easily shows it to you. So thank you very much.
No, you're exactly right. Because then first I was happy, then I got mad. I'm like, how come they didn't teach me that? But anyway, now we know. So, and it does, my son owns a finance company, and I worked there for a while. And sometimes getting people to get the documents over to you is the hardest thing. I'm like, surely you can get to a fax machine or a scanner somewhere. I don't know. And it can make all the difference. So
the difference between making the sale or not making the sale.
Exactly. Or missing a deadline. And, time is money, and fuel is expensive, and people driving across town to go to their cousin's scanner. That's what was going on. Somebody was going to go to somebody else's house to find the scanner and all that. So anyway, there you go. That's the tip of the night, I guess. The rolling backpack, the cloud, we've already talked about on other shows. I'm a fiend about over-the-head headsets, so that serves two purposes. Really has really great quality, but it also sends a message to people that you're on the phone, and so they don't come up and talk to you when you're sitting there talking on the phone. But you just want to have the right tools. And I have a new tool that I want to share with everyone today, and I've only had it 2 days, but it was the deal of the day.
Thanks for listening
Amazon.
to Building for.
Oops, my mistake. I pushed the wrong button.
Were you trying to scan and you?
I was getting ready. I was getting ready for our exit because I'm sitting here talking to you. I'm like, oh shoot, I got to get ready for when she's done.
I know, because I'm about to wrap it up real fast.
But you said something about a new tool. You got me kind of excited.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's called a Rocket Book. And here's the rule. The principle is if Janine can do it, anybody can. I'm like the Mikey of the technology world. If I can do it, anybody can. So it said Rocket Book, so I looked at it, and it was like deal of the day, and it was like $39 or $40. But the thing was that it said Like you can take, it said, you have like hundreds of notebooks, because I'm an avid note taker. I take copious notes all the time. So I'm always having notebooks. I got to go get another notebook. I need another yellow pad. Then I have this other exercise where I have to keep the note, get all the notes out of the notebook. Then I have to either type them up or scan them in or do something. So I looked at this Rocketbook, and it says it's a little dry erase notebook. And at first I'm like, Then I start looking at it, and I actually watched the little video. And it comes with a couple of pens, but the thing is, there's a barcode scan at the bottom left-hand corner. And so, like today, I was in a meeting all day, and I kept taking notes. And normally that stuff will sit in my notebook, and then I'll go back through the notebook. So today, after I was done, I took a picture of the notes I took, and not only did I send them to my Dropbox, I emailed them to the other people in the room. So everybody had the notes, because I don't want to say I'm a control freak, but some people don't take as good of notes as I do. So I had notes for everyone. And if somebody draws out, like in direct sales or network marketing, somebody's always drawn the plan or circles. You take a picture of that, boom, you can scan it, message it, send it, Dropbox it, whatever you want. And it's super simple. So when I ordered this thing yesterday, I thought, this is either going to be really good or a waste of money, and I'm going to have to return it. Because I didn't think I liked the idea of, I didn't know what the pages would be like on the notebook. They're like this really cool quality. So then you write on it, and then I thought, well, I'll probably write on it and it'll rub off while I'm trying to, but it doesn't do that. It stays on it. It has a special cloth, and then you wipe it all off and start over. So I've had 2 successful days with this Rocketbook, and it came with a I think it's about a 5x7 size notebook with about 15 or 20 pages in it, and then it came with a little mini notepad. So that's my latest thing, and the notes it's just so easy to send to people, and it's so easy to save on your computer, and it's good for the environment, and it was affordable. So that's my latest tip. And I don't make any money.
What's the name? What's the name of it? What's the name of it again?
It's Rocketbook. Like a
rocket
book? Yep.
Well, where would you find it?
On Amazon. That's where I got mine. And it was the deal of the day yesterday. It was about maybe $35, $40 top.
Wow.
And it sure was great, because especially if you're an avid note taker like I am. So I'm always trying to make my life a little bit easier and simpler. And then when I find things that work, I want to share them with everybody. So that's what I've got for tonight at 7:58. And if you want to go back and listen, I had so many people that when we were on break told me they went back and listened to some of the past shows and regrouped and got started again. I have the left-hand corner of my website, JanineAvila.com. You can find Building Fortunes Radio. It's got its own special little corner on my site, and the shows are all listed there. And then also you can go, Peter, you tell them, you're better at that than me on how to find them on Building Fortunes Radio.
If you go to buildingfortunesradio.com/Janine. So we made it real easy for you. It's buildingfortunesradio.com/Janine. And you can also find Janine as a guest page. If you Building Fortunes Radio, look for the guests, you can find Janine Avila. That's Avila. Avila. So great information, Janine. This is good stuff. I mean, stuff we can use. Make a difference.
Good. Well, and that's what I want to do. If I can make somebody else's life a little bit better, then that's great.
And we will see you next time, everyone. Thanks, and bye for now.
All right, everybody.
You've been listening to Building Fortunes Radio on buildingfortunesradio.com. Thanks for listening. Be sure to check us out every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time for the designated Building Fortunes Radio segment with Peter Mingles. Be sure to check out the buildingfortunesradio.com website for our featured segments. It's been our privilege to have you listen in. At Building Fortunes Radio, we wish you the success you deserve and are willing to work for. So spread the word, tell a friend, join our newsletter, and go make a difference in your world.